That's right, here we are. We're back in the shop, and it's a little different video. Normally, you guys are seeing me take apart computers and those TVs and whatever else, but hey, copper is over $5 a pound US right now. So I tell you what, it'd be silly to pass up all of these free ballasts that came out of Lights. That's right. So you're gonna have a couple you're not gonna want to do, but let's crack into these guys and see how much copper is actually in them. All right, so we got them all sorted out here for you guys, and check it out. So we have some in the package. That's right, we left them in the package because I tried to sell them. They were going online for, I don't know, $12 to $15 a piece. Well, none of them moved, so they're all gonna end up scrapped. We had already clipped off the wires on these guys. Yeah, they're in my wire bin over there, but I tell you what, we'll get a good example from these right here. We got 9, so we'll get an idea. We have 30 of those total. We also have some 3 of the older guys. Yeah, that's right, some 3, that's how I talk, but we have 3, and they say no PCBs, but there's going to be a lot of muck inside of those guys for sure, but we're going to weigh them before we start. And now here's this guy. This guy is going to be a horse of a different color, and I urge you to watch this, because yes, if you look and they say no PCBs on the label, then you're going to be relatively okay. You still want to use gloves and a mask and everything else, but if you don't see no PCBs anywhere on this label whatsoever, and I've looked it over, so unless you guys can see something I can't, I'm not cracking that guy open, because PCBs are a carcinogen and they will get you hurt, especially over time in your lungs, everything else. I'm not actually sure how that works. Yes, we're back in the shop, it's a little cold, but so I'm not exactly sure how that works, but I'm not worth risking the biscuit, so we're gonna weigh that guy up. I'm not even sure if my local scrapyard will take that particular one, but hey, we're just going to weigh it up as scrap price, but we're going to get a weight on all 3 of these as a total to see how much it would be if you were to put it in just your scrap steel, because I know a lot of people do it. So as it stands, new in the package, these guys would go for $12.99 per unit. There's 30 units we had. That would be $389.70 American, but these guys are not moving. So what's our next bet? We're going to go and we're going to clip off the copper wire, because why throw that in your scrap steel? And then we're going to weigh these up for scrap steel price. All right, so we got it broke down into its individual units. If you were to sell it just for shred and take the copper wire off, what would you get? Well, I tell you what, you'd have 34 pounds of shred, give or take. And at 4 cents a pound, that comes out to $1.36. And if you were to keep the copper wire, that comes roughly 2 grams per unit. We had 30 units, so I tell you what, if you carry the 2, that's gonna bring you to 3.75 pounds of insulated wire. That's right, so at my scrapyard, that's gonna be a grand total of $11.49 just for what we did. But what if you want to make more? What if you wanted to take a couple more minutes and break all these units down to their bare essentials? Well, I tell you what, let's check it out. So here we are, we're getting all these ballasts ready for you guys. I got halfway through them, and they're pretty simple. These little tabs basically take a little pair of pliers, and you just bend these tabs back, and you get underneath these tabs, and you can fold them forward. It's a little harder to do on camera and show you guys at the same time, but they do pop off pretty easy. And then you do the other side. And again, like I said, you get to go on with a good clip when you're not on the camera trying to show you guys how to do it. But these guys will just fold back like a little tuna can, and they'll pop right off. And then you go and you have all your goodies inside. So again, we're not going to make you guys watch all of these, but we'll get all these cranked out. So now what? Well, basically we're going to shuck them. I already did one here. You just open them up and you take the plastic out of there. You take your little nippers and you can pull up on these wires. They'll come out. There are going to be 2 on that side. And you just pull the board out. The board comes out, and again, you're going to have some scrap steel. That's going to add up. You're going to have a little bit of plastic. There's unfortunately unavoidable. You're going to have a little bit more scrap steel. And then, again, there's going to be some secrets in these MOSFETs, and there's even a transistor hidden down in here somewhere. I am just sure of it. So I tell you guys what, let's crack in all these guys and see exactly how much it's going to add up. So I just wanted to bring you guys in here. So even within the same packaging, in the same brand new box, you're gonna find variations. That's right. You can see that this guy has an extra long, extra piece of wire to add, and this guy doesn't. I don't know if they figured out a way to make them smaller, more efficient. I have no idea, but even within the same brand new box, you're going to have different materials inside there. So you just never know exactly what is going to be in what. Even though you've taken apart tons of them, you just never exactly know what's going to be inside of each one. All right, so we got them all broken down. If you were to sell those boards online to say board sort, absolutely, this is where you would stop, and this is what you would get. You would still get 96 cents for your shred, including those pieces right there we haven't took apart. Your insulated wire went up 0.25 pounds, so that in turn went up to $10.80 for that insulated wire, and you can send out your low-grade boards, 12 pounds at 50 cents, either low or mid-grade board, the price of today, and you would get $6. So that would give you $17.76 versus your $11.49 for your beginning. But what people are forgetting is it will cost me $1 per pound shipping to ship out those boards to board sort. So it's going to be a net loss of $12. So that brings my profit down to $5.76 if I were to go that route. But I tell you what, there's a better route for Scrooge. We're going to continue to break these boards down and see exactly what we're going to have inside. All right, so what do we got? Well, basically, you're going to have a bunch of MOSFETs, and you're going to have copper transformers on here, and that's going to be super sweet. These MOSFETs are going to have copper in them for sure, absolutely. Don't tell you, let anybody tell you any different. But I tell you what, they're also going to have little gold bond wires. Absolutely. I know I say it in every video. I'm always out for the gold. Sometimes you guys believe me, sometimes you guys don't. But hey, I tell you what, we're going to keep going with this. You're going to have some film resistors. And yeah, we collect them up because I'm not sure exactly what's going to be in them. They're going to be either film capacitors, as such like that. And we collect them up and we'll find out later on. Because I tell you what, it would be a bummer to find out that those guys actually have some form of precious metal inside of them wrapped around the mylar, and you just threw them all away or gave them away pretty much, depending on what you do, I guess. So we're going to have a copper or a couple of these aluminum capacitors, and these guys are pretty easy to get out of the way. You just pull them off the board like that, and you can put them in with your pop cans, talk to your scrapyard, and figure out what they'll do for you. And then you're going to have a couple diodes. Yeah, you're going to see a little diode right here, and you're going to see some resistors and some more diodes right there. There's going to be another resistor underneath this transformer, but hey, you're going to have 4 copper transformers, and that's going to be super sweet. And what else are we going to have? We're going to have a couple of these little blue M&Ms. Now, they're going to be capacitors. A lot of them are going to be ceramic disc capacitors, and they're going to hold a little bit of silver. Some do, some don't. But I tell you what, we put them all in the collection all at the same time, and eventually one day we will process them because, once again, they all add up. So now we're going to rip through all these boards and see what we can come up with. So here we are, we got them all broke down, we got most of all the components taken off besides the copper bearing transformers. But we're coming up against 2 different types here actually, like I was saying earlier. So one of them is actually going to have some really nice chunky MLCCs. I don't know if you guys can see that right there, but those are going to be 4 nice MLCCs along the board. Again, there's going to be more material on here as well. And the other one has an IC chip. It doesn't really have any MLCCs, and it doesn't really have much for the back. And the other difference is the size comparison. That's right, this is going to have the same amount of transformers, but they're different orientations and sizes. So are they going to be worth pulling off the board? Well, absolutely. So we're going to go and we're going to get them taken off, and then we'll get the back taken care of and get all the MLCCs cleaned off of there. All right, so here we are. What do we get? Well, I tell you guys what, we got 8.5 pounds of copper transformers. That's right, now 25 cents a pound, that's gonna come in right around $2.50 added to the total. That's right, we still got the copper wire. And for all you guys, my steel guy says if it's got base metals, it rides. So we're gonna throw that in with our sheet steel right there. That's right, shred steel, whatever you guys wanna call it. We found some more extra copper that's gonna go in with our copper insulated wire right there. And we're just gonna add add that up as a total. And now we got our resistors. They don't really have much inside of them, but they're there. They're always hanging out at the party, so we always put them in their own little spot in the world. Now we're going to have our ceramic disc capacitors, and I tell you guys what, there's a heated debate on whether they have silver or not. Now, I know for a fact that they will, on a majority, have silver in them. The older they get, the more silver content they will have. Now, that is the discrepancy that I have found. Now, we also have tons and tons of diodes. Now, we have little round diodes. We have some blue diodes, which are a new one for me. We also have our other epoxy-style diodes. And I tell you what, every one of those guys is going to have a little form of precious metal. Along with those T09 packages, I have no idea. They're 3-leg transistors, and they have little whiskers of gold representing each leg inside of them. So we don't get rid of them, we add them up along with these fuses. That's right, for all you guys, fuses will have silver or gold. I have come across both of them, but this time they are going to be silver. And if we keep moving on, we're going to have silver connector ends. That's right, that's silver plated brass right there, and that's going to go into our silver collection for later. We also have all these MOSFETs, and I know everybody looks at them, and that's right, they are stacked with copper. And if you look there, absolutely. But these legs on these guys are going to represent a little gold bond wire inside there. That's right. These guys will have some form of gold. Thought you were going to get away from the gold with Scrooge. Nope, it's there. It exists. And we're going to get it out just like we do our IC chips. Now, these Mylar film capacitors, I tell you what, we see them everywhere. They're a plethora. They come in every color of the rainbow, every shape, size, and orientation. I have yet to have anybody comment on exactly what is inside of them. So if you guys know what's inside of them, don't feel free, leave a comment down below and please let me know. I've spooled every one of these guys out. You can imagine every different name, brand, and variety, and they all look the same with a little bit of Mylar, and there's this tiny little button of metal in the center. I have no idea, but you guys let me know. Now, we also have our aluminum capacitors right here. My scrapyard will take them as pop cans. I don't know about you and your scrapyard, but you guys figure that out. And that is a massive pile of transformers. Absolutely. Again, we got 8.5 pounds, and at 25 cents a pound, I'm super excited for that total for sure. You're going to see some board left on there, but that's okay. My scrapyard will take it as is, just like that. As long as you don't leave them completely on one of these boards like that and say, hey, I want to send that in as a transformer, they're going to send you out the door and tell you to go take care of it. What else do we have? Well, we're going to have some crumble right here. That's right, that came off the back of those boards, and these guys are actually going to be pretty decent. You take a magnet across a bunch of your material, and you see all the legs and everything on there, but it does not stick to the magnet. Well, I tell you what, that's going to be pretty decent. It's going to be full of copper, and it may even have some gold and silver inside of it. But what our score is going to be, our super little score right here, is going to be these MLCCs. That's right, and everybody goes, Scrooge, what are you messing around with MLCCs? Well, let me tell you guys, see that magnet running across them? See how that magnet barely lifts those guys up and you can shake them off of there? Well, that means these MLCCs are of noble stock. That's right, they're going to be noble metal MLCCs, so they're going to have silver and platinum or palladium inside of them. Quite a bit more than your everyday run-of-the-mill MLCCs that will stick to this magnet really hard. So I tell you guys what, was it worth taking apart a bunch of transformers and a bunch of ballast from fluorescent lights? Absolutely. So basically, we started off, if you were going to do nothing, you were going to get $11.49 for nothing more than cutting the wires off of them. If you continue to break them down, then you get about $7.76 minus the shipping, $5.76. Now, if you wanted to go a step further like we did, you would increase your shred up to 35 pounds for $1.40. You would still have insulated wire at $10.80. You'd have your transformers at 25 cents for 8.5 pounds, which comes out to $2.50. Your goodies are priceless, absolutely. So that comes out to a total of $14.70. So for $14.70 for 1 hour hanging out with you guys, making a cool video, absolutely, I'd get paid $14.70 an hour to do that over again for sure. So remember, if you guys had a good time, you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe button. If you guys want to check out some more cool videos like what we just did here, check some out. Absolutely, feel free. Hey, you guys leave comments. So for all my subscribers, absolutely thank you for making this crazy little YouTube world work. For my wife, I love you. And for my kids, go wash your face.